Hey guys, Brewery 602 Beer Reviews here at Brewery 602 on Instagram. My name is Marcus. Today I'm at King's Beer and Wine doing a beer review with the man, the myth, the legend, Eric Walters.
Oh, me?
Yeah.
Ah, man.
Tap That AZ fame. This is going to be our new series that we're going to be doing, and Eric is kind enough to do it on his podcast called
Rating Arizona.
Beers. So today we're going to be doing a beer out of Dragoon Brewing Company located in Tucson, Arizona. This is Ojo Blanco. It is a Witbier, Belgian-Style Witbier. Haven't done too many Witbiers on the channel. I've done some Hefeweizens, stuff like that. Witbier is a very interesting category because typically like a Witbier is like both banana and clove kind of beer. Whereas like a Hefeweizen a lot of times leans heavy towards the banana side or heavy towards the clove side. So this is kind of like a balance between the two. Don't know the ABV, it's not on the can. Put the ABV on the can.
Dragoon.
It's just one of the things that, you know, there's a lot of information that you can put on the can to kind of help the consumer make a decision as to the beer, when to drink it, how to drink it,
Yeah.
and how much they can drink.
For sure, because the way beers are going these days, 4.5% beer could taste like a 7% beer, and a 10% beer can taste like a 5% beer, which can get you in trouble.
Exactly.
Right? I've done that. Hazy, Tap That AZ Hazy is 8.2%.
Yes, it's a double, yeah.
And I've had like 3 or 4, 6 or 8 in a night, and
Yeah. Me too.
that'll get you. Yeah.
Because it's really good. So Dragoon's been around for a very long time in Arizona, in Tucson. Have been to the tap room out there. Really cool place, nice spot, very close to a ton of breweries in Tucson. And same thing, right? It could get you in trouble doing some brewery hopping in Tucson.
Great beer scene, great food scene. Like,
Yes.
I love Tucson. I love the whole. I like consuming drinks and foods, so Tucson is my place.
It is. It's a fantastic place.
Yeah.
Dragoon has been around for a while. They do have some staple beers that they do that are pretty good.
Yeah.
I mean, they're really good beers. So, and I've done a couple of Dragoon on the channel before. So let's crack it open.
Excellent.
And a Witbier. So what was Eric actually picked out the beers that we were going to be reviewing initially, and so what was the purpose on this one? What was
Just
the
something
reasoning?
different. Something different. I want to, I want these videos to be not just what I like, right? Yeah, because otherwise it'd be sours and IPAs and, pilsners. But I love that Arizona breweries are doing so many different things. Like to not only make a wit beer, but to put it in a can and to be able to find it here at King's Beer and Wine on Thomas and Central.
Yes, absolutely.
But I just like all styles and kind of put you on the spot. You're the expert, so I want to learn. This is beer education for me too, my friend.
Definitely not an expert. That's going to be edited out.
Yeah, no, it's not. It's going to be amplified. It's going to be the intro. So Ojo Blanco is white orange.
Sure. Yeah.
What is it?
I don't know. See? Okay. So you think I know what Ojo Blanco means? I thought it was Ojo Blanco.
You did. You said it. You said it Is that what it is? Orange?
Ojo could be
Naranja is orange.
Naranja is orange. Yeah. Ojo
okay.
could be a couple things, I guess. It could be like leaf. Or it could be eye. Ojo. It could be eye. It could be leaf. So I mean, there's a couple things on there, but
it's a cool name.
it's a cool name.
Yeah, it is. Cool cans too. I always like Dragoons. They got their style. They've got, cans all look the same, silver on top with something at the bottom. That was a good description, wasn't it? Something on the bottom. What's next?
So the beer does come in a slightly hazy gold color.
I feel like 3 of the 4 beers we did today
About the same
about
color?
the same.
Yeah,
Yeah, this
yeah.
one's a little more yellow than
Yeah.
the other one's a little that pineapple.
So do you, when we're talking color of beer, do you know the appropriate name?
I know
for color?
straw. People use straw sometimes. That's it.
So there's a number that people will put on color. There's a SRM.
Okay.
Is one way. Lovey Bond's another way. Lovey Bond is the color of the grain. SRM a lot of times describes the color of the beer. The lower the number, the lighter the beer. So this is a lower SRM beer.
Do you know what the SRM is? They actually have the SRM on
Do
the
they?
can.
Oh,
man.
oh, man.
So we're gonna test them. We're gonna test them. What is
Well, it's low. It's less than 3.
less than 3?
I don't know.
Yeah.
What is SRM?
4.
Darn it.
I'll be taking over from here.
Yes, exactly. So if
This
I would
has
have said
a-
less than 4, I guess I would. So
has
3
a-
to 4 SRM. Witbier comes very low IBU.
Okay.
And the recipe for Witbier is like a hazy IPA.
Really? Interesting.
Yeah, so
In what aspect?
The grain bill.
Okay.
So grains are going to be very wheat and oat forward. So a lot of
Okay.
oats will be used in it to get the haze. And so, some maybe even Pilsner malt or something like that to make it nice and light.
Nice.
And the only difference is your yeast and your hops.
Okay.
So
That's a big thing with Belgian styles is typically the yeast, right? That's what gives off those. Sorry,
phenolics, yeah.
I'm jumping ahead.
No, you're right.
Right?
Yep.
But okay.
So let's get a drive-by aroma. Woo! That is clove heavy, big time.
Yeah.
It's like, so on the drive-by, I get a ton of clove. I get some pepper, like peppercorn, like white peppercorn. Definitely clove forward. And that was the initial, even maybe like there's some banana,
Yeah.
banana leaf kind of thing going on with it as well.
Very much like a hef.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah, very
Yeah.
close to have. This would be a little bit more clove forward
Okay.
than like your typical Hefeweizen, which is really banana forward.
Gotcha.
I always go back to Four Peaks original Hefeweizen from the 90s, which is like still to this day the beer that my brain is like I love the most. And that was really big time banana forward.
Okay.
But this one is clove forward. Yeah, and you do get that peppercorn, which is really nice in a Witbier, and that little bit of that banana kind of like leaf kind of thing going on with it as well. So yeah, it's a good taste on it. Cheers.
Cheers, buddy.
And, thanks, Kings.
Cheers to Kings. Don't forget, close your eyes when you drink it. Wow. It's actually a lot more light on the taste than you would. It's almost like a session hef. Is that a thing?
No.
It should be.
All Hefeweizens are going to be under 6%, so they're all going to be sessionable. I mean,
Okay.
typically, I think guideline-wise, like a Witbier is probably anywhere 4.5 to 5.5.
Okay.
Probably
Okay.
5 being the sweet spot. So, yeah, very light. But man, so it's very clove forward on the aroma, but very banana forward on the taste.
Man, your ability to pick out these notes is incredible.
It's soft. It's like banana peel almost.
Sure.
Not just like eating a banana, but like, when you eat the peel
Accidentally or
on purpose.
intoxicated.
No, just kidding. Like, just that aroma whenever you're peeling a banana is actually in the taste.
Got a little bit of the, I guess with like citrus fruit, it's like the pith or like the zest of it,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
So kind of the same as that, where it's got a little bit of that little, was that tannins or?
Yeah, some like a sharp tannic kind of thing. I mean, to me, it might be, there's like a pepper, so the yeast is going to put off like a peppery kind of a thing as well. And so I think that like peppercorn thing is giving off that, that tannic feel.
Yeah, okay.
Because it does have like a nice spice character to it. And man, there may even be like a slight allspice kind of thing on the background that kind of just plays around with the palate. It's just, we've had a cider before this, and this plays really nice after it.
I agree.
I mean,
yeah.
It really does, because it's very low IBU and a lot of flavor.
It is.
It's a lot of flavor.
Now, for me, for my style, I can have a 10 ounce of something like this. Like I'm not huge on these more of the clove or the banana, Belgian styles, but
You're a hothead.
I am, yeah, for sure, man, for sure. Love sours too. Love sours like that, especially wild ales and stuff like that.
Oh,
but
God, yes.
yeah, yeah. But this is fantastic, man. This is really good, and that's what I love about coming to a place like King's or going into to Dragoon, the brewery itself, is you can do a 5-ounce pour of this, right? You don't have to sit there and like, shit, I gotta get a 22 ounce. I gotta get a frosted mug of this. I don't know if I'm gonna drink a frosted mug of a Witbier, but this is excellent. Now, interesting spices they have in there: coriander, lime, and cumin. Is that
Interesting.
Is that a common thing?
No, not. I mean, so coriander is typical, and I've used it actually in a Witbier before.
And that's the seed of cilantro?
Yeah, the seed. And then basically you would do is you prep it by kind of cooking it, kind of toasting it a little bit, and then crushing it and then adding it to the mash. Usually I add it to the mash. Now you can add it to the boil, but it would be like a flash boil. Like it'd be something like you knock out and then add it.
Okay.
Because the longer it sits in a boiling, I mean,
you extract that.
You'll extract tannins. You'll extract
like coffee,
right?
Like you don't want to leave coffee too much or scorch it or
exactly.
Very interesting. Now, lower on the carbonation for what I typically like as well. Is that common with the Witbier and Hefts?
So actually, Witbier and Hefts are normally higher carbonated beers.
Okay.
This one it's not too bad, but it almost drinks. If you were to take out the yeast, it drinks like a hazy IPA.
Sure.
As far as mouthfeel.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It's soft on the mouthfeel, it no bitterness kind of thing. Like, so if there was a hop aroma to this, you'd almost have a hazy IPA out of it. So I like the way it drinks. The head retention is pretty good. It's hanging around. It is a little bit lower carb, than, like, let's say a hazy IPA.
Yeah.
But man, it drinks really nice.
I think it's a great beer.
I think it's a great beer.
Yeah, I do. I agree.
So as far as a score is concerned, we're doing a score 1 to 10 based off of the style of beer. So considering, I don't even know any other wit beers to compare it to.
Okay. So over there, like one of the handles here at King's Beer and Wine has the pink elephant on it.
Right. Yeah.
What is that?
The Delirium.
Delirium. That's not a wit beer.
Well, it's they do Belgian inspired beers.
Okay.
So they do. I think Delirium is it Hefeweizen?
It's a good question.
It's a good
Look
question.
It up. Find out.
We'll find out.
Delirium.
But see, I know how to read. I'm good. But I mean, it's a really good beer. It's just based off of the beer alone. I mean, I don't know. I'd go 8.5.
Okay.
I'd go 8.5 on it. I'd go 8.5 on it.
I'd say an 8, and I'll say this for this style is I like it because we don't know the ABV, right? But you can tell
it's low.
That's a low ABV beer. That is a good sweet spot for me because I think sometimes the Belgians are too much. Like they're too the ABVs are high a lot, right? And that
if you get into like your tripels and your doubles and your quads, you start talking some really serious drinking stuff. And a lot of times too, like you said, the flavor, a lot of time that banana, the clove, bubblegum is another one to describe a lot of those Belgian beers.
Yep.
It is kind of just, I mean, do you really want to be drinking banana all day? Probably not.
So I want to freeze it, put it in the blender with some peanut butter, make a
chocolate. So it is kind of like you said, something you can have a can of and enjoy it, and then kind of mix it in with the other beers that you're having that day.
Yeah.
Or that
you know what?
Or that hour.
I'm gonna say 8.5 as well. You just talked me up a half a point, man.
And there you go.
Because it's good, man. This is one that I don't know. It finishes so light and dry that you can. I could probably have a whole can of this.
He said it was dry. That's awesome. So a lot of people can't pick out a dry beer. They don't know what dry means when they're drinking the beer. But yeah, you're right.
Took me a while to figure it. So what exactly is dry?
Beer-wise, dry is whenever you finish out a beer, the yeast will take a beer to, as it's consuming sugar, it'll take depending on how much sugar it's going to consume, if it takes it down to, let's say, 0, which is it ate every bit of possible sugar or anything like that, fermentables, I guess is what you want to call it. If the yeast finishes out all the fermentables, there will be no residual sweetness. And so no residual sweetness There's nothing in there to give you that bite or anything like that. And typically that just is dry. It just to us is a perception of dryness.
Yeah.
If there's any residual sugars left in the beer, then you get that little bit of a sweet, that malty character. Doesn't quite dry out the palate as, like, say, going down to like a 0 on this ABV scale or whatever. So I mean, so basically that's all it is just how far the yeast will consume the fermentables.
And then on the finished side of it, as a drinker, at least kind of what I've identified as dry is like the finish, right? Because you drink it and there are beers that just stay there and you're just like,
dry out your palate.
Yeah, those are the ones that, because that's why I said at the beginning of this one, I'm like, I could probably have 10 ounces of this, but then I had 10 ounces, I'm like, I can drink more of this because of that dryness. It doesn't linger. Yeah, I dig that.
Yep.
So nice work, Dragoon.
Good job, Dragoon.
Yeah.
So you guys, thanks for watching, and thanks to King's Beer and Wine.
Yes.
For hosting us. Very, very cool that I get to do this with Eric, and I look forward to doing some more of these. So
yeah.
Cheers.
Cheers, guys. Cheers to Rating Arizona.
Beers.